Hello, and thank you for watching this short video for Moving Forward on First, the Multimodal Boulevard study focused on First Street in Santa Ana, California. In this video, I will provide a brief overview of the project and present the 8 potential options being considered that will transform First Street into a true multimodal boulevard. Funded through a REAP 2.0 grant administered by the Orange County Transportation Authority and Southern California Association of Governments, the First Street project extends from Bristol Street on the west end of the corridor to Tustin Avenue on the east end. The goal of this project is to improve the travel environment along First Street and connect people to places through a variety of reliable, safe, and affordable transportation options. The project kicked off in June 2025 and will be completed at the end of 2026. During this time, extensive outreach is being conducted to identify barriers to mobility, existing traffic and travel patterns, physical conditions, and community preferences. Working with city staff, community stakeholders, and city council, we aim to select a locally preferred alternative in January of 2026. Once the locally preferred alternative is selected, the project team will complete both the environmental document and final engineering design. The city is actively seeking additional grant funding for construction. First Street today is a highly auto-centric corridor. With approximately 83 feet curb to curb, there are 6 vehicle travel lanes, a raised median for much of the corridor, and sidewalks on both sides of the street. There are no bicycle lanes or facilities for bicycles. Therefore, the outside lane on First Street is currently shared by autos, bicycles, and buses. And while traffic signals are coordinated, meaning that they work together to help minimize stopping at red lights, there is no transit signal priority. Transit signal priority allows buses to extend the green light to help minimize delay at traffic signals and improve on-time performance. Now let's look at how people travel along the corridor. Like much of California, the majority of the people who travel along the corridor do so by car. Data collected in March 2025 indicates between 20,000 and 36,000 vehicles per day travel on First Street, with the highest volume near Main Street and the lowest volume near Tustin Avenue. Posted speed limits along the corridor range from 35 to 40 miles per hour, and during the peak hours, travel speeds are at or near the posted speed limit. However, in the evening, speeds do tend to increase. OCTA Route 64 is one of the highest ridership routes in Orange County. Based on information collected in 2024 and 2025, up to 2,900 daily boardings occur within the limits of the study area, with the highest boardings occurring in the westbound direction. Throughout the day, you will see people walking and bicycling along First Street. A review of origin and destination data for the corridor indicates that 30% of the trips made by people who live or work near the corridor are made by walking. Bicycles account for approximately 250 trips per day along the corridor. During the data collection period, however, 85% of the bicyclists observed were riding on the sidewalk, indicating a safety concern relative to riding their bicycle in the street. And while accident rates are fairly low on First Street, pedestrian and bicycle-involved collisions account for 23% of the 479 crashes recorded across an 8-year period. Community engagement began in August of 2025 and is a key part of this project. Since the initiation, we've had 2 sets of in-person workshops, 1 virtual online workshop, attended 3 pop-up events in the community, and have initiated discussions with stakeholder groups. Consistently throughout these touchpoints, 4 key themes have emerged. First, safety. People feel uncomfortable crossing the street. They feel traffic is moving too fast, and they'd like to see more street lighting. Next, they'd like to see separate pedestrian and bicycle facilities. people walking do not feel comfortable sharing the sidewalk with bicyclists. They like to see new protected bicycle facilities. More amenities, places to sit and rest, shade. Create a theme or even a sense of place and improve the amenities at the bus stops. And then finally, make sure the street is accessible to all through ADA improvements and signal upgrades. This background leads us to the next phase of the project, which is developing the options. Regardless of the option, improvements to sidewalk quality, landscape, curb ramps, ADA access, and transit signal priority will be included in the plan. As I walk through the options, we're going to focus on the type of bicycle facilities and its location, whether it's on the street or at sidewalk level. We'll talk about the sidewalk location, whether it's shared with bicycles or if it's separated, and the distance it takes to cross First Street. We'll look at the number of lanes for passenger vehicles, and then we'll look at which lanes buses travel in and where they stop relative to the other modes. So let's begin with option 1. In this option, the pedestrians have a sidewalk on the north side of the street and a multi-use path on the south side. The crossing distance is 76 feet, which is 7 feet narrower than the existing conditions. Bicycles travel either eastbound or westbound, sharing the multi-use path with pedestrians on the south side of the street. To accommodate the multi-use path, the existing lanes and median would be narrowed to 10 feet, but all 6 lanes could be accommodated. Buses would share the outside lane with the cars and stop in the travel lane at stops for loading and unloading passengers. Option 2 is similar to option 1, as it provides a sidewalk on the north side of the street and a multi-use path on the south side. However, this option adds bike lanes to accommodate those who prefer to ride at street level. To accommodate the multi-use path and the bike lanes, the existing number of travel lanes would be reduced from 6 to 4. And because there are only 4 travel lanes in this option, the distance across First Street is 74 feet, which is 9 feet less than the existing conditions. Buses would stop in the bike lane and in part of the outside lane for loading and unloading of passengers. Option 3 is also a 4-lane option, but rather than a bicycle lane and a multi-use path, this option provides for directional bikeway on each side of the street, which is located at sidewalk level. A dedicated sidewalk is provided on both sides of the street. Sidewalks are separated from the bikeway by a narrow planting strip. And because the roadway is 4 lanes and the bikeway is at sidewalk level, this option has the shortest crossing distance across First Street at 58 feet. Buses would stop in the outside lane for loading and unloading passengers at bus stops. In reviewing the traffic volume data for the corridor, eastbound traffic is higher throughout the day than westbound traffic. Therefore, option 3 maintains 3 eastbound lanes while westbound is reduced to 2 lanes. Consistent with the previous option, option 4 provides sidewalks on both sides of the street, and bicycles are provided a dedicated directional bikeway at sidewalk level. The sidewalk and the bikeway are separated by a narrow planting strip. The distance to cross First Street is 62 feet, approximately 21 feet narrower than the existing condition, and buses would stop in the outside lane for loading and unloading passengers. Option 5 presents another 5-lane option with 3 eastbound lanes and 2 westbound lanes. The main difference between option 4 and option 5 is that both directions of bicycle travel are moved to the north side of the street. This bi-directional bicycle travel would require special bicycle signals at intersections. Consistent with the previous options, option 5 provides a sidewalk on both sides of the street. The sidewalk on the north side of the street and the bikeway are separated by a narrow planting strip. The distance across First Street is 66 feet, approximately 17 feet narrower than the existing conditions. Buses would stop in the outside lane for loading and unloading of passengers. The next three options integrate a bus-only lane into the corridor. Bus lanes can help improve bus operations, reduce delays, improve on-time performance, and eliminate queuing of vehicles behind buses at bus stops. Option 6 provides a dedicated space for all users. There are 4 travel lanes, 2 bus-only lanes, directional bikeways, and sidewalks. The crossing distance is 76 feet, which is 5 feet narrower than the existing condition. Option 7 also includes 4 travel lanes, 2 bus lanes, but the bus lanes are shared with bicycles. No dedicated bicycle facility is provided in this option. The headway, or time between buses on First Street, ranges from 12 to 25 minutes. Bicycles will be able to use the entire lane when buses are not present. At bus stops, a bypass behind the bus stop will be provided for bicycles, removing the need for them to either pass on the left of the bus or merge into traffic. This option provides wider sidewalks and additional planting areas along the curb for pedestrians and narrows the crossing distance to 78 feet, which is 5 feet narrower than the existing condition. Recognizing that vehicular traffic is higher eastbound than westbound, Option 8 maintains the 3 auto lanes in the eastbound direction and includes 2 lanes in the westbound direction. The third westbound lane in this option is converted to a bus-only lane. Existing conditions data indicates that bus boardings are twice as high in the westbound direction than in eastbound direction at many of the transit stops. In this option, bicycles are provided a dedicated bikeway on each side of the street, along with a dedicated sidewalk. The bikeway and the sidewalk are separated by a narrow planting strip. The crossing distance for First Street is 78 feet, which is 5 feet narrower than the existing condition. Now that you've seen all 8 options, we'd like to hear from you. Using the link in the description below or the QR code above the word survey, you can take our brief survey to select your top 3 options. Can't remember all the options? No problem. Scan the QR code above the word options and you can download a short cheat sheet summarizing all 8 options. Want to stay informed? We hope so. We will keep everyone informed of upcoming workshops and presentations through our project website. You can click on the link to the website in the description below or use the QR code above the word website to get more information. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to participate in this project and help us identify improvements along First Street that will make it a true multimodal boulevard. Thank you for your participation.